Hello everybody, this is Bird Brain. We're here, we are nerdy for the birdies. With less than a week to go in the draft, let's take a look at the safety class, which is a fairly strong class in this draft, and with the Eagles losing C.J. Gardner-Johnson earlier this offseason, the Eagles kind of have a hole at that spot next to Reed Blankenship. So who's going to fill in that role? Well, here I have several candidates that could potentially fill in that spot, so let's get into it. So our first player is Malachi Starks, the safety from Georgia. Most of you have probably heard of him, obviously. He recently did make a top 30 visit with the team. And this is a popular player for the Eagles to take with their first round pick. I like Malachi Starks. I wouldn't say I loved him. Things that you've probably heard about him is that his 2024 tape isn't as good as his 2023 tape. I thought, people have talked about his RAS score being I see, to an extent, some of that on the field. I don't think he's a 5, truly. I think he's a little better than that, but I don't think he's the most athletic in this class. And you see that especially when he has to make plays against the run, coming downhill or using certain pursuit angles. I think he can get beaten, and we saw that especially in the Alabama and Texas games. He struggled a lot in direct man-to-man coverage this year as well. But Starks is a very interesting, versatile safety. He can play in the slot, he can play in the box, he can play deep. I would prefer him away from the box, personally. I just don't think he's a great... If you're going to be playing box safety, I think you have to be a much more sound tackler. You have to be able to fill in run gaps, hit the correct angles, and with him, I just don't quite get that as consistently as you'd like. So for that reason, Malachi Starks, I still think he's the most solid safety in this class. I think he's the safest, best pick safety. If you're just looking for a guy that you know is going to be good at the position, take Malachi Starks. But I think there's a safety, in my opinion, that has the potential to be better. And this is going to be a bit of a shocker, and that's Kevin Winston Jr. Now, there's a very big red flag here with him, is that he's coming off a pretty major injury where he missed pretty much the entire season last year. He played in only 2 games, which is unfortunate. But if you watch him on tape, and looking at his 2023 tape, he was really, really good. And even this year, he was really good. And he's just rangy. He's got good speed. He can get downhill. He can tackle. He can blitz. Penn State played him all over the field. And I thought he looked pretty good doing so. And I think he's a better, tackler than Starks. I think he's got better closing speed. I can just see the athleticism. The big concern with him, obviously, is can he stay healthy, or will he be ready for the season? And unfortunately, this is not a player that, as of right now, I'm aware of that the Eagles have talked to showing interest. We don't know that yet, but this is someone that I really wanted to watch, and we'll be talking about his teammate later on in this video. But I think he has the potential to be the best safety in this class. I think Malachi Starks is like the safe bet good safety in this class. I think he has the potential to be the best. But is he the most athletic safety in this class? Which brings us to Nick Emmanwori, the safety for South Carolina. Another player the Eagles haven't met with, but someone that has that fringe first-round grade. Whereas Kevin Winston's more of a second-rounder. Emmanwori is such a fun prospect. He had a perfect RAS score of 10 from the Combine. But watching the drills, I would agree with this. Malachi Starks looked better in the individual drills. I just think Emmanwori is a much more athletically gifted safety. I think he's worse against the run, especially, than Starks. He'll miss a lot of tackles in the open field. He's just not a great open field player. He does make some plays, though, in the air. He'll have some good coverage. He'll get some picks. He's kind of a ball. He can be a little bit of a ball hawk. But again, he's such a raw, not raw per se, but very he will need some development in terms of continuing consistency with tackling on the field, because that's a huge thing. Because the thing is, you're not going to get thrown at every play, but one thing you have to do as a safety is you got to be able to tackle. You're the last line of defense. So if you're missing tackles, we saw it last year with the Eagles, you're the safety and you're missing tackles, it leads to big plays very quickly. So it's something that we are looking for him improve upon. That's something that can happen with certain teams, certain defenses. But this is a player that has been fun to watch throughout the draft process, but I do think that there are some glaring weaknesses. But I still think he's the most athletic safety in this class. Then you have Xavier Watts, the safety from Notre Dame. A really good prospect. This is a round 2 guy, really good safety in this class. Again, really solid overall player. Kind of similar to Starks, where I think he's a solid overall player. I wouldn't say he's like extremely athletic or extremely rangy or anything like that, but I think he's just a really good safety, or he's kind of a jack of all trades. Like, I wouldn't say he's not an amazing tackler, he's not amazing in coverage, but he can kind of do everything really, really well. And he's just a really good player, that kind of second round pick guy. Not a guy the Eagles have met with, just a guy that I thought the Eagles would be interested in, but obviously they haven't talked to him, so who knows. Then we get Andrew Makuba, the safety from Texas. Another really, really good safety that does pretty much everything well. He provides some power, he can hit, solid coverage. I think he's a much better tackler against the run than some of these other guys. I just think, though, he's a little bit less overall a safer prospect, just mainly because I don't think he's as athletic as some of the other guys in this class. But I think he's a really good safety prospect. This is someone projected to go in the 3rd, and I wouldn't be surprised if he went a bit earlier. This is a really good player. The Eagles did meet with him, not as a top 30 visit, but at some point in the draft process. So this is someone that's clearly on their radar, who could easily play next to Reed Blankenship, and I would really like to see what he could do in this defense. Then we move on to Jalen Reed, the other Penn State safety. So obviously we talked about his running mate, Kevin Winston Jr., and now we talk about Jalen Reed, and I really liked watching Jalen Reed because he kind of feels like in some ways a mini-me of Kevin Winston, and given how much more responsibility he had to take on this year when Kevin Winston went down, being the full-time safety. I mean, he was a full-time safety already, but now it's like they really leaned on him more, and he was doing a lot of the same things that Kevin Winston was doing. He's displayed a good amount of athleticism. He was a solid tackler, really solid in coverage, made plays. And they moved him all over the place. Watching him, it's like sometimes you'd be looking deep, looking for him, then you realize, oh, he's blitzing at the line of scrimmage. Then you're looking, he's like, oh, he's playing in the slot. Oh, look at him, now he's playing deep. And it's like they moved him all over the place. He's a fun chess piece. I could really see the Eagles taking a chance on him. They brought him in for a 30 visit. I could see them drafting him day 3 and then having him be that kind of developmental safety, or maybe this year Sidney Brown or somebody else starts, but then he is the backup that can develop and become a future starter, as other guys age out or move on from this team. And the last safety I want to talk about is Malachi Moore, the safety from Alabama. Also has met with the Eagles, not as a top 30 visit. And I think this is a true day 3 safety. He's got some really nice skills. Again, he's going to need more development. I definitely think he brings some energy similar to what CJ would bring to our secondary. I liked a lot of what I saw from Moore. Again, not the most refined or polished prospect in this class, hence why he's a day 3 guy, but there's some fun traits in there, and there's some solid aspects to his game that you can't help but like. So with that, that's the safety video. This one's a lot shorter and simpler. This is a really good safety class overall, and I really like the prospects we have here, and I think the Eagles have a chance to get a really nice guy. Anyway, this is Bird Brain. Hope you guys enjoyed being nerdy today. Fly, Eagles, fly. See you around.